We visited the Social Butterfly Learning Center in Leesburg, Virginia, where a team of educators are on a mission to empower kids, especially those with autism, with social behavior and executive functioning skills through their after-school and in-home programs.
So what Social Butterfly's Learning Center does for students is really target that social reciprocity, in layman's terms, social skills, but social reciprocity, social behavior, and executive functioning skills. A lot of our students with autism, main diagnosis of course, and developmental disabilities, those are the areas of deficit, and they need to receive explicit instruction. We wanted to do it in a group setting to make it more naturalistic and give a lot of opportunities for practicing back and forth and enhancing their skills.
Kids with learning differences tend to have difficulty in expressing and interpreting emotions, making socializing a skill that needs to be taught and practiced. But each student is different. That's why the Learning Center focuses on each individual's needs and works with them in the areas they need most.
So one of the things that happens to students with autism when you look at the DSM-5 definition is definitely the social aspect, communication, and then irregular patterns of behavior. So basically your frontal lobe is impacted also. So they need this explicit instruction and experiences to learn the skills. So we systematically teach them by explicitly working on it on a regular basis, and then they acquire the skills. They are very smart, they're able to learn, but we need to help them.
Some of them struggle with initiating conversation. Some of them struggle with maintaining, and some of them struggle with keeping their answers maybe a little bit shorter so that the other person has a turn to talk. It can include learning nonverbal social skills, meaning being able to identify facial expressions, body language, and that can also include all the invisible rules of living in a social society, which are very complex. Ultimately, it depends on the child, what social skills they may need, because sometimes you might have a child who really struggles identifying what emotions they are feeling or what emotions someone else is feeling. And so you have to literally teach them names and identifying emotions. Somebody else might be able to identify their own emotion, but they don't recognize, they have a harder time taking somebody else's perspective. And so unless that person says, I feel this way, they might not see those signs.
So while it looks a lot of fun, what we're actually doing is teaching them and exposing them and then having them practice with peers.
Social Butterfly achieves this through a variety of activities like acting out social scenarios, playing interactive games, identifying feelings, and discussing conflict resolutions.
Some of them didn't really think they needed any help, and they wanted to play video games instead. So we really had to try to show them that it's fun to make friends and it's fun to interact. And that's one area that I'm really proud to say I think we were pretty successful in. Every once in a while we'll have a day where maybe someone isn't in the mood, but that's all of us. Most of the time they come in with a positive attitude. They've definitely made gains in really trying to take themselves out of their own perspective. Think about their friend, for instance, and what their friend might want to talk about, what their friend might want to play. We've taught what are called friendship files, where you actively practice learning what somebody else likes so that you are thinking about them when you're having conversations. And then lastly, self-regulation. And that means like when you lose a game, not flipping out, not saying rude things, being able to show some enjoyment when you've seen when your friend wins the game instead of you. In addition to rehearsing, in addition to identifying feelings, but also when they come to group, they're making friends and they see that other people have these same feelings. And so a lot of times just knowing that can help you feel more comfortable with the emotions that you feel. You don't feel so alone. And when you don't feel so alone, you accept it a little bit more and you can calm yourself a little bit easier.
Lucy's journey began when she had her son, Reuben. His early years of receiving a diagnosis were rough, and providing for him is what led her to becoming a behavior analyst.
I didn't find meaning in my job, and I was asking God for something with meaning. Little did I know that when I had my son, my first son, Reuben, at the 19-month mark, he started exhibiting some changes, regression, and behavioral things. He was banging his head, crying. We didn't understand why. And that started my journey into finding out what was happening to him. And after 3 daycares, to include a Montessori school, and being asked to leave and going through Child Find, children's hospitals, I learned that he potentially had a disability. They didn't diagnose it right away. They recommended that I stay home, which I did. He eventually got a diagnosis. Unfortunately, he was misdiagnosed first. But at that moment, I was just desperate, and he needed special education services. So in first grade, he was diagnosed with emotional disabilities. Not even a year later, the teacher said, no, let's go back. And they found him eligible for autism. I have to say I'm really proud. He's 20, he's gonna be 21 next month. He's taking courses at Nova, he's in college, he's learning how to drive, so he's doing really well.
Lucy founded the Learning Center in 2020 with her son as her main inspiration. She knew that if she needed more help, so did the millions of other parents who feel as lost as she did.
I realized that while schools do a lot of great things, we needed to dedicate more time to that area, because making community connections, you can be really smart, right, and have a lot of talent. But if you cannot connect in the community, be independent, navigate, develop deeper social relationships, you're gonna stumble, you're gonna struggle. And that is an area that I thought that I can come in and help students, K through 12, especially before they go off to college, to develop the skills they need in order to be successful navigating the social world. I just felt like every kid is ruined, right? Every kid deserves an opportunity and someone to help them. And I found a lot of good people along the way who helped me and trained me, but also supported me in my journey. And I want to do that for families. I know schools do a great job and they do all they can, but I needed more, so I know they need more. And that's why we're here, to give them that opportunity.
Today, dozens of kids are getting the help they need thanks to these educators who are taking the extra steps necessary to give these children the very best foundation. For A World of Difference, I'm Cindy Peterson.